In this section, we are going to develop a Python program that will, whose aim is to crawl a website, a given website domain, and get us all the pages that are contained in that particular website. And for that, we have the algorithm here. That is the first step. We are going to input a URL. Then the program will visit the target URL and is going to extract the link to pages from the URL, and then recursively visit all the pages to extract links, and then finally it's going to print out the links. And for that, we also have a program plan that we are going to abide by to get this tool up and running. So we are going to have a function that will get argument, that is get the domain name to form the target URL that we are going to the program will visit. And then secondly, a function to get links from the given URL, and then a function to process the links to form a full URL that is going to finally print out for us. And for that, I have already created a file called spider.py, and then I have added a shebang and a comment. This program calls a website, and then I have imported model argvars, and also I have also defined function get argument. Get argument will get a domain name from the command line from the terminal, and only a new concept here. Here, instead of using a optional argument, here we are using positional argument. So optional argument, we usually specify optional argument with a dash or dash, but here unlike optional argument, positional argument, we don't need to specify, we don't need to precede them with any switch or flag while specifying a positional argument. And unlike optional argument, positional arguments are compulsory. So before the tool will get up running, we have to input a domain name. With all the optional arguments, which are optional, but positional arguments are a must. We must add them before the tool will get up running. So here this is how we can specify positional argument. So added domain is a positional argument, and the program will reference it as domain. And then this is a help message, domain to search email from. So, and then in line number 13, and then we finally invoke function first ask. We have already seen how all this works, so we don't need to spend much time on this. So basically, what this get argument will do, it will enable the user of this tool to specify a domain name over the terminal, which is a positional argument, and he doesn't need to precede the positional argument with any switch or flag. He simply enters the domain name, and then the program will return the domain name and make it available to any line of code that invoke function get argument. Finally, in line number 21, we invoke function get argument, and we created a variable, and then we assign to it the value that get argument is going to return is going to be assigned to variable domain. All right. So now let's begin scripting. Let's begin adding more code to this tool to realize our objective. Okay, so I'll go back to the algorithm and see what our next step is. So our next step is to we have already achieved this function to get argument. So we are going to create a new function, get links from URL. So I'll just come over here, and then I'm going to define a new function, get links, from URL. So this is a new function whose aim is just to get links from a given URL. So whenever we invoke this function, we are going to pass URL as argument to it. All right. So now, how can we achieve that? Now, to achieve this, we are going to make our Python program visit a web page. Make a HTTP request to a web page. Normally, we know that if a computer wants to access a server, a web page that is residing on a particular server on the internet, is going to make a HTTP request to that website to get that web page. So same thing here, we are going to make a HTTP request to that particular website, and then given the website specified by the URL, and then get the web page and then make it available to our program. And to do that, Python equip us with a module called request. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to import that particular module request. So I just come over here and say import request. So now we have imported the request. Now we can make use of request in our program. So I'll just go back to my function get links from URL, and then now I can make use of request to make HTTP request to the URL that we have passed to this function as argument. So what I'm going to say, I'm going to make use of this module request, and from this module there's a function called get URL. Okay, I mistype it. Get the name of the function is get, and then we are going to pass URL to it to get the URL from the website. So basically what this get function will do, it is going to make a HTTP request to the URL we have passed to it as argument. Now when this is going to return with a response, and then we want to capture that response and then assign it to a variable. So let us create a variable, and then I'm going to name that variable response. So basically what this function get will do, it will go to the given URL we have specified here, make a HTTP request, and then return the HTTP request, and then it's going to assign it the variable response. Okay, so now let's print out the response and see how the response is going to look like. So I'm going to print out the response. So now we have domain get argument, we have invoke function get argument to get the domain name that the user is going to specify about the terminal. So we expect him to enter something like example.com. Now when he enter example.com, now we are going to make it into a full URL. So I'm going to create a variable called target URL, and then I'm going to add the HTTP part. So I'm going to say HTTPS / and then I'm going to concatenate it to the domain. So concatenate it to the domain to form a full target URL. Then finally, I'm going to invoke function get links from URL. So I'll just write get links from URL, and then I'm going to pass to it as argument. I'm going to pass to it my target URL. All right. So now we'll go to the terminal and then run this program, and then see how the response is going to look like. All right, so I'm on the terminal here. I'm going to enter sudo and then Python 3. Then I'm going to write the name of the program, spider.py, and then okay, let's see how the program will respond if we didn't enter the domain name, which is a positional argument. So let's hit enter and see. Okay, my password. All right, as we can see, usage spider.py domain spider error. The following arguments are required domain. So we need to specify the domain name, and then when we enter spider p.h for help menu, let's see how the program is going to be. Okay, so as you can see, it is a positional domain, is a positional argument, domain to search email from. All right, so let us clear the terminal, and then now I'm going to write sudo Python 3 spider.py, and then I'm going to pass to it my domain name that I want to capture, that I want to make a HTTP request to. So I'm going to enter a domain srcoe.edu.ng, and then I'll just hit enter. All right, perfect. So as you can see, it has given us a HTTP response code. OK 200 is a HTTP response code for OK. So that means it has been make a request to this domain srcoe.edu.ng, and then it has gotten a response back, which is 200. Okay, perfect. So we can see our tool is now working correctly. Okay, but we are not interested in the HTTP status code. We are more interested in the content of the web page. All right, so how can we access the content of the web page? To access the content of the web page, because basically when this get function is going to return an object which we assigned to the variable response. Now we can access the content of that particular web page by adding .content. So .content now will now give us the raw content of the web page. All right, so now let's save it and then go back to the terminal again, and then see what output is going to how the output is going to looks like. So I'll just make use of the arrow key to access the last command I ran, and then I'm just going to hit enter. All right, as you can see, this is how the output actually looks like. So this, as you can see, it is a HTML code. Unlike we humans, when we with it, you see the visual HTML. But a Python tool, a computer will see will only read the HTML text source code. All right, only read the source code. Unlike we humans that see the graphical user interface, the GUI aspect, the visual aspect. Our Python program is interacting with the HTML code, not the visual GUI that we humans interact with. All right, so this is the content that we have been able to fetch from that particular web page. Now we want to be able to extract links from this particular web page so that we can visit also those links, and then finally we can print out all the links that particular web page contains. Okay, so now if you are familiar with HTML, you know that links are usually specified by href attribute. As we can see some of it here, we have some links here specified by the href attribute. So and to get the links, we are going to make use of this href to construct a regular expression, just as we did in our mark changer program, to extract the links and then print them out in our program. So we are going to make use of this href to construct a regular expression and then find it from this particular content and then make it available to our program, and perhaps even print it out on the screen so that we can see the links that are available on this web page. All right, so now I'm going to go back to our program, and then we are going to import a module called RE, which that is a regular expression. We have seen how to make use of this module while we were creating a mark changer tool. So I'm going to import regular expression. I'll just write import RE, that is regular expression, and then I'm going to go back to my program, and then to my get links from URL function, and then I'm going to instead of printing this out, response.content, we want to be able to extract all the links that are contained on this particular web page, right? So to do so, I'm going to make use of a regular expression, as I've said earlier. Now within that regular expression, there is a function called find all. Now this will extract all the regular expression formula we have specified to it. So any string within this particular response.content that matches that our regular expression is going to extract it out and then make it available to our program. So basically I'm going to say re.findAll, okay, which is a function. Find all is a function, and then I'm going to pass to it now the regular expression, now followed by the text string that I want to extract that regular expression from. Okay, so now we don't have our regular expression that we want to fetch links from. So we need to go to our Phytext. We have made use of Phytext while we were creating a mark changer program. So we are going to go to Phytext and then create a regular expression that matches href links, and then we are going to get all the href links that are contained within this response.content text. All right, so what we are going to do now, we are going to go to Phytext. All right, now say we want to extract links from this target website. which is Phoenix Academy. Now let us view the fetch source. So I'll simply right click on the website and then click on view fetch source. All right, so assuming this is our target website that we want to perform we want to extract links from this website. So I'll just right click and then view page source. Then we are going to see the raw HTML code that construct this particular web page. Now we can see the href link here. Now we want to form a regular expression to extract all the links that are contained on this particular web page, because basically our own Python program, while we as humans, while we interacting with this website, we are seeing the visual graphical user interface. Now what our Python tool is only interacting with this raw HTML code. So what is seen in this raw HTML code, not this visual part of the website, not this HTML that has been rendered by our web browser. So it is only seeing the raw HTML code here. All right, so now what I'm going to do, I'll copy the whole of this. I'll select all and then I'll copy it, then I'll go and paste it in my PyText as my test string. So I'll paste it here. All right, so now we want to form a regular expression that will capture the href links that are contained in this particular web page. So we just go to a href link. All right, so this is a href, so I'm going to copy the whole of this up to the closing quotation here. So I'll just copy it and then I'll come and paste it here. All right, so we want to form a regular expression that will capture every href link that is contained in this particular web page, right? So now we'll go back to our I open also another window that contains PyText on this particular tab here for easy accessing, okay, to easily access it. So we want to go to this regular expression cheat sheet, and then we are going to make use of it to form our regular expression. All right. So when we look through this regular the cheat sheet, we can see that a dot matches any character. So and we know that in a href link, it can contain numbers, special symbols. It can contain basically anything as part of the link to that particular web page. So we want to make use of a dot to match any character. All right, and we know that that character can be a number of times. So we can determine the length of a link offhand. So we know that it can be as lengthy as possible, or it can be as short as possible. So we are going to make use of a wildcard character that is 0 or more. So 0 or more. So we know that a matches any character. That character can be 0 or more characters to form a href link. So basically, I'm going to replace the whole of this. I'll just copy. I'll just do away with this. And then I'm going to replace it with any character, and that any character can be 0 or more times. Okay, so that character can be 0 or more times to represent our href link. Right, as you can see, it has already started matching the href links that are contained on our test string. So we can see perfect. So now, but if we want to capture the href link, we are not interested in this part of the href link, href, and the assignment operator here, and the enclosing quotation symbols. We are only interested in the link, not in the href, which is the attribute. We are not interested in it and the quotation sign. So what we are going to do, we are going to group them into two. So what I'm going to do, I'll just come here and then group this as one part. Okay, sorry. Group here as one part, and then group here where it contains the actual link as another part of the regular expression. All right, as the regular expression. So here I've split it up into two. So I've split it up into two. The href part, the part that we don't want, and then the second part is the part that we want, which contains the actual link to that particular web page. Okay, so I'll go back to my how can we now tell regular expression that we don't want this particular part. We are only interested in this part that contains the actual link. So I'll go back to my PyText, to my Python, to my PyText cheat sheet, and then see how I can do away with that. Okay. So when we look through, also we can find this what we call special sequences. Under special sequences, the second one, we can see non-capturing version of regular parentheses. So if we have grouped our regular expression into parentheses, so any of the parentheses that we don't want to be returned as part of what we are looking for in a string, then we append it with this question mark and a colon to show regular expression that we don't want to be you to return this part. We're only interested in the other parentheses. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'll go back here and then I'm going to add that non-capturing to it. So I'll put a question mark and then put a colon to it, and then now I am telling regular expression that I'm not interested in this other parenthesis. I'm only interested in the second parenthesis. All right, perfect. So I'm going to now copy this, though there's little changes that we need to do to it, but let's go back, let's go and test run it and see, and then we will come back and then make some little adjustment to it so that it will properly capture the links that are contained in the given URL we have specified to it. So I'll just copy the whole of this. I'll copy it, then I'll go back to our Sublime text editor. Okay, sorry. So we go back to our Sublime text editor here, and then now we just simply paste it here. All right. So I will save it, and then I will go back and run it. Okay, so here we are only finding it. Okay, so let me create a variable here. I'll call this links. Okay, create a variable links and then assign it to this. And now let's finally print the links and see the links. So I'll print links. So now let's go back to the terminal and then run this and then see what we are going to have as our output. So I'll clear the screen and then run this. All right, so we have changed the let me change the our target. The target is phoenixacademy.com. So phoenixacademy.com, and then I hit enter. So let me enter the password. Okay, so on a byte light object. Okay, so we are having an arrow, type arrow here. Cannot use a string pattern on a byte light object. Okay, so in Python 3, basically what happened is that our request, what we have as a response as the object that is returned by function get. What we have that the value that is returned by function get is actually invite, and we are applying a regular expression to it. So we need to convert it to string before we can apply a regular expression to it. So there is two ways of doing this. We can either convert it, use casting and convert it to string like this, or we can also decode it. Since it is in byte, we can decode it into a string. So basically I'll just enclose it within a quotation here, wrap it up in a quotation, and then invoke function decode. So decode, and then I'll save it, and then I'll go back and then run it and then see whether we are going to still have this error here. So I'll just run the program again and then see what we're going to have. Okay, perfect. As you can see, it returned to us a list. You can see it is a list that contains all the links that are contained on that particular web page, okay, that we have given to it. So these are all the links that are contained. It is a list that contains all the links that are contained on that particular web page. So we have made a progress, all right, but they can see that the output is very rowdy. We don't want to have output like this, okay, and we don't want to return let's see how we can separate it into so that we can have the output one by one instead of having an output like this. Okay, so what I'm going to do, let's go back to the Sublime Text Editor. All right, so since we know that line number 25 return us a list which we assign to variable links, which is the same thing that we have printed out on the terminal here. So we can access the element of the list and then have them printed out individually on the terminal for us, instead of having the whole of the list printed out like this, and it doesn't make much meaning for us. Let us print them individual, one after the other on this terminal. So let me go back here and then iterate through the element of the list. So to do that, I'm going to make use of our for loop. I'll write for link in links in our variable links here, which basically contain a list, which we, as we have seen, we have it as a list that contains element whose members are lists, are links rather. All right, so we are now accessing each of the element of this list and then assigning it to variable link, and then we are going to have it printed out here. Okay, so after printing out, let's have some little demarcation so that we can see the demarcation between those particular links. So let's just use a little asterisk here to just create a demarcation between the links. Okay, so let's go back to the terminal now, and then demarcation. How we forgot to add demarcation. So after print, okay, so also here I need to put a color, so I'll save it. And then now we go back to the terminal and then run the program and then see how the output have changed. So I'm going to clear the screen. All right, and then I'm going to run the program again. All right, so what we are going to do here, since we know that line number 25 returned to us a list, as we can see on the terminal here, is basically return us a list that contains links as element of that list. So we are going to make use of for loop to iterate the element of the list. So basically what I mean is that I'm going to write I'm going to make use of for loop for link in links. So I'm making use of for loop to access the element of this list, since we know that links is a list that contains element whose members are the links that we were able to extract in this particular response.content. So now I want to access this individual element and then print them out on the terminal. So I'm going to remove this S and then print link, and then let's put a demarcation after printing the link, each individual link. So let me put a star to create a little demarcation between the each individual link that we have been able to print out. Okay, so basically what we are doing, we are accessing the element of this list. Links is a list that contain element, and those elements are just the links that we extracted from this response.content using our regular expression. So let's go back to the terminal and then see how the output is going to change. So I'm going to clear the terminal here. So I'll just make use of the arrow key to access the last command I ran, and then I just hit enter. Okay, perfect. So as we have been able to achieve that, we can see the individual links have been printed out on the terminal. All right, but a little something that we need to perform a little format to our regular expression. Okay, so the extraction isn't perfect. As we can see, we have https forums.phoenixacademy.com/forums, and then we have the closing quotation, which is part of our regular expression, and then it matches another regular expression. We have some little additions which are not part of the link. As we can see, this class and then closing quotation and all this extra text is not part of the link. So we just want to be able to extract the link perfectly. So we don't want anything extra after the link that we have been able to extract. Okay, so to do that, we are going to make a little addition to our regular expression, as I have said earlier. All right, I just want you to see this so that we can now go and make the necessary amendment. So we'll go back to our Python PyText, and they see the little addition that we need to do to it. So we want to do away with this closing quotation, and then the extra text that is after the link, because our link is supposed to stop at forums / we don't want the closing quotation, and we don't want this extra text that is added to the link. So to do that, we are going to go back to our PyText and then go to the PyText cheat sheet. And then when we look through the cheat sheet, we can see that we can, after adding our wildcard character to represent 0 or more, and then we can add a question mark for non-greedy. So basically, it will match as little text as possible. It will just match what we have specified to it. We say we want to match any character, and then that any character 0 or more of that character. So we want it to match as little as possible. So anything that is extra, we don't want to match that extra. So you can, I have put a link under the resource section. You can go and read more about greedy and non-greedy, what greedy and non-greedy means, and then you'll be able to extract this. You'll be able to understand this better. So basically, we just come over here in our part of the parentheses where we want to have the desired the part of the link that we are interested in, and then add this question mark to represent non-greedy. So out of that part that we're interested in, we want it to match as little text as possible. Don't add anything extra. So I'll go back to my Sublime text editor here again, and then I'm going to add this question mark to represent non-greedy. So I want it to match any character, and that any character 0 or more, and then as little as possible. Don't go beyond what we want you to match. So forget about any character, forget about this closing quotation, and then any other text that comes after it. All right, so let's go to the terminal and then see whether we are going to have is good. What the output that we are going to have differs from what we have right now. So I'm going to clear the terminal again, and then I'm going to run the program and then see what we are going to have as output. Okay, perfect. As you can see, we have been able to do away with that closing quotation, and then the little text that follows after the closing quotation. So as you can see, all we have here is our perfect URL link that we have been able to extract from our that URL that we have given to function get links from URL. All right, so we are going to stop here, and then in the next lecture we are going to see how we can further perform, we can add more code to achieve our objective of having a complete program that will possibly visit all the pages in a website and extract links from that particular website.